Okay, you want to start?
I thought we already started. I thought you were talking about LuLaRoe.
Okay, but I have to actually,
Hi, my name's Cass. Welcome to the AutoParent podcast with my mom.
Hello, and welcome to the AutoParent podcast, episode 39, which I think we should call the Foundry Foxes swim team.
I like it. Or the Foundry Flounders.
Foundry Flounders. The Floundriers. That doesn't work. The Floundriers.
The Foundry.
Okay, if this is any indication already of how this episode is going to go, you're in for a treat. I'm your host, Pastor Casey, and you know me, so let's get to our special guest for this episode. Our special guest is Kaylon Rutledge. She is my Foundry Fox, the B to my S, the booty to my bread, and the Tar Heel to my Blue Devil. Kaylon is a professional communicator and lifelong student of the art of communicating, originally from Pinehurst, North Carolina, and spent her college and postgraduate years in a place that shall not be named, Chapel Hill. She worked remotely as a communication specialist with the Office of Human Resources at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. A proud Tar Heel. I literally can't say it without fake vomiting. She has a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism and Mass Communication with public relations focus, as well as a Master of Arts in Technology and Communication from the Bad Place. Before joining the Bad Place in Human Resources, she worked in cancer research and fundraising. The list goes on, and clearly you can tell she's just an absolute badass. And it's just unfortunate where she chose to go to college. And now Kaylon is the director of digital engagement at Foundry, and she is a mom to Harper, who is 2 years old and freaking adorable and amazing. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
We're recording this in our pajamas at 10:45 p.m. on a Tuesday because this is how we do things.
We're just setting the scene. Leopard print robe and all.
Yeah. I'm actually cuddled up in bed too. It's kind of nice.
The only way to podcast.
Well, it would only be better if I had a glass of wine in my hand, but I don't. So there's that. I also have to wake up super early and get on a plane. So trying not to do that with a wine hangover.
It's wise.
Wine giver. That also doesn't work. How would you say wine hangover together?
A wine over?
A wine over?
A
wine.
I just call it Monday.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you some special guest questions. These questions we ask everybody on the podcast. So I want to know what your biggest pet peeve is.
Oh. Where to begin? I have so many. Okay, I'll give you one. I'll give you one that maybe others haven't said. I mean, of course, I hate when people talk with their mouth open and are, rude to waiters. But I really, really dislike when people use OCD or bipolar or something like that as an adjective.
Oh.
Oh my God. When someone says, oh, my closet's so organized, I'm so OCD about it. Oh man. Pet peeve.
Yeah.
No. That's like an illness.
Right.
Or if you're saying she had a great day and then she had a bad day. She's so bipolar sometimes. Nah, we got to remove that from, you know what I mean? That is a pet peeve of mine. Yeah.
That is so interesting. I think that has always bothered me, but I don't think I've ever said it, but I had diagnosed OCD when I was younger. There was a demon kid under my bed. This is real, that would tell me to do things a certain amount of times. This actually happened in my life. Not the demon kid part.
But I mean, obsessions and compulsions awful disease to live with. And so it's like, bipolar or all these things that, we can throw into our everyday, language and make light of. And that stuff drives me cray cray.
Yeah.
Here I am proving my own points. Hear what I just said?
Yes, I did hear what you just said. Yeah, that's right.
So, I'm even aware of myself doing it. And it's a peeve when I do it too. So, always working on, language and all that. So I think, when we're not careful with our language, we can sometimes really hurt people. And I think people, use mental health lightly. It can, not cool, man.
Yes, agreed. Also very communicatory of you.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So I want to know, this is intended to be like a hard question, but I want to know like either a recent time that you have laughed really, really hard, or bonus points if you can tell me the hardest time that you've ever laughed in your life. And it does not have to be a good story.
Okay, there's no way I'm going to be able to recall the hardest time I've ever laughed in my life. And if I could, I don't know if it needs to be like on the record, Yeah. So, okay, but all right, you were there for this. So the hardest I've laughed recently, and you know what? I might have laughed harder retelling it some of the times, multiple. And that was when we were at our staff retreat. Okay, and I'll set the scene for the listeners. We're at the staff retreat. It's a Foundry church staff. There's like 12 of us, and we're in like rural Maryland, like
in a swamp,
like a marsh. Yeah, a swamp. Right? Whatever. It's like a wetland of some kind, and it's whatever. We're off the beaten path. We're getting some work done. Well, I'd bring my family because I thought everyone was. It's just me that brought my family. And my daughter Harper was like, I don't know, somewhere between 1.5 years and 2. And she's been going through this phase, and still kind of is, where she just like takes her diaper off and like doesn't tell anybody. So she was kind of had a little bit of free reign of the little cabin or whatever where we were, all staying as a staff. By the way, I've been on the staff for like a month at this point. Okay.
Right.
So I've been on the staff for a month. I'm kind of like shy, and this was kind of diving in pretty head first here, going on this like out of town home sharing situation. And I'm like, okay. So Harper runs into the kitchen and is just standing in the middle of the kitchen. And one of our pastors, Pastor Ben, who's like, can be kind of a serious fella sometimes, standing at the sink, and she just is looking right at him, and she just has a number 2 just roll across the floor. And he just kind of looks at it and looks at me, and I'm so mortified. I was so embarrassed, so mortified. And like, I was looking around for like a napkin or something, and I couldn't find a napkin. And so what I did see was a bag of chips. And I grabbed 2 chips, and like, this might be TMI. And I used the chips like little tongs. And I like picked it up, and I like ran to the garbage as fast as I can. And after I got over the initial dying of embarrassment, and I went outside and told our boss what happened, retelling it to her and seeing her laugh made me laugh.
Of course.
Really hard. Really, really hard. So it was a really great way to kind of break the ice with my new colleagues. And
it also couldn't have happened to a better like person, like Ben. Of all of us. Like, I mean, obviously I would have rolled with it, but like
without, he was like washing dishes, and like he didn't even blink. He was just like, meh, like whatever, yeah, normal. Yeah. Like it is to be expected. And I was like so embarrassed. I mean, I wish I could have seen my face. It was probably so red. It was, yeah. My face is burning just telling you about it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So good.
But like embarrassing things happen to me a lot. And luckily I've learned like on a daily basis. And luckily I've learned to laugh about them. Yeah. So I laugh a lot.
Oh my gosh.
I get in very Larry David situations. For anyone that watches Curb Your Enthusiasm, like I am Larry David. Like just unfortunate. I say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, turd rolls across the floor. Like that's just me. I mean, it's always harmless.
Right. You do find yourself
you know,
in some strange predicaments though.
I do. I so do.
That was a good one. I'm literally crying over here. Okay, well, now it's time for a segment called Parenting Fails, Confessions, and Wins. Nice little segue. I have a parenting fail just right up top. I just really don't pay a whole lot of attention to what my kids eat in the morning. Like, I just really don't. Like, Cash gets breakfast at school, which is great. But Riggs just kind of like, I don't know, he just wanders around and like rules the house and gets whatever he wants. So this morning he came up and handed me a bag of like shark gummies, which he's like obsessed with these shark gummies, but they're not even like the kind that are like pretending to be healthy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not even the Mott's kind. They're like shaped as vegetables. Like these are the kind that are like actual candy gummy sharks.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, yeah, he's obsessed with them. So he comes in and hands me a fresh bag. And I was like, oh, this must be the bag we got him, even though I didn't go get the bag. So I was like, oh, surely there's only one of them. And I opened it, and Greg got home this afternoon and was like, did you give Riggs that bag of gummy sharks? And I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And he was like, it was on the counter, I think, but that was his second bag. He's already eaten one whole bag of gummy sharks. And I was like, whoa. So he still doesn't know. Greg still doesn't know that I opened it, because I was just like hardcore, like, no, I didn't give him those gummy sharks, even though I was not paying a lick of attention. And he just came up and said, Mommy, we open this. And in between his little tiny blonde curls and his cute, adorable little face, I was just like, sure. And I opened
no
it
questions.
and gave it to him.
No
and
questions
I think that's
asked.
what my child ate for breakfast.
Mine had popsicles, so like solidarity.
Yeah. Solidarity.
Plural. Popsicles. Multiple.
Yeah. Okay, so do you have a parenting fail?
Like, yeah, you want my most recent one, or like
that'd be great.
Let me I'm opening up the big book and I'm like turning to the end. Like, okay. All right. So tonight, literally like 3 hours ago, Harper was doing the Riggins and was just, going about her kingdom in here, and just surveying her, her vast kingdom of 900 square feet. And I'm like, wow, like something smells good. Like it smells clean. Jonathan, my husband, must have cleaned today, like, or done laundry or something. And I go in the bedroom, and Harper has a bottle of counter cleaning spray, and it's just like spraying everything. I mean, everything. Like my pillows, my duvet, the television, like the art on the walls, opening up the dresser drawer, spraying in there. So everything I own as of 7:00 tonight smells like Chip and Joanna Gaines Magnolia Home for Target. This is not an ad. That smell will be forever probably lingering on me for the rest of my life. She was also spraying it like on herself. So like I gave her a bath, and like she still kind of smells like it. So yeah, that's my that's mine of the night. Like luckily I think it's made with essential oils. I think
totally safe.
She's so clean. She's so clean.
Not a pyramid scheme. Totally
yeah,
fine.
I mean, she was like sitting there like, oh my gosh, there's no telling where it's been sprayed that I don't even know about. Like I need to be careful. It's like the smell equivalent of glitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glitter like never truly goes away.
Ever. Right.
It just goes somewhere else. in your home
I'm literally
or on
crying.
your person. Next question.
Okay, this is your podcast. I'm just living in it. So now we're going to do confessions. And I realized this confession a couple of days ago, and I was like, oh my God, I have to share this on the podcast. So I thought, who better on the podcast to share this with than you? I realized a couple of days ago that my kid can read, like Cash can read pretty proficiently. And I didn't teach him that.
Wow. Who's been like secretly sneaking in your house at night and teaching your kid to read?
Well, here's the confession. I swear, I think he learned like playing video games.
Huh.
Because there are words on the screen.
Yeah.
And he did have to occasionally, like he would be like, hey mom, like I need to spell this, or what does this say, or whatever. And then also like talk to text on his iPod. So he can like text my grandparents and my mom. And so he'll like talk to text, but then he has to read what they say. Right. So I swear, I think this kid taught himself to read.
Well, there you go.
So that's
hopefully
my
it'll be as
confession.
easy for mine. Well,
I
that's
mean,
a good that's not a confession. That's like, my child is so smart.
no, it's not. It's, to me, it feels like absolute neglect. I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
I think it's awesome.
I got lucky for sure. Like, I don't think that's not gonna fly with Riggs.
Your kids are just amazing.
They are pretty amazing.
Okay, I have a confession then.
Okay, go for it.
So I realized the other night I was giving Harper a bath. So it's usually my husband's thing, like it's their special thing. They do bath time and they listen to a different musician every bath, which is kind of neat because they'll do like a little, little highlights of each one. Every now and then over the last few weeks, he'll get, he won't get home from work until late. And so I'll do the bath. So I'm not the usual bath giver. All of this to say, my daughter would be 2 in a week. I've probably personally washed her hair 5 times. Like, it gets cleaned because like Jonathan washes, like he gives her bath and does the shampoo and conditioner and the whole 9 yards. I feel like I'm like really good at like all parent things, except I don't know how to wash my kid's hair without getting water in her. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's a pain.
I can do some really complicated kid stuff,
Yeah.
But I can't figure out how to wash my kid's hair. And I can't admit it now, 2 years in.
Yeah.
So I gotta just
lie to you,
coast.
Kaylon. With Riggs, because he's always had this like ridiculously curly hair for no reason. Like I don't get it. Greg is bald and I'm half bald, so I don't understand like where this.
And his hair is thick too.
It got thick, curly, beautiful hair. I got so irritated with it not this past summer, but the summer before, that I literally looked at Greg and I was like, either you are going to get these tangles out every day or I'm cutting his hair. Like I'm cutting it because I don't know how to do it. Like I can't, like I was not given kids that need long hair. I was not given that. So I don't know what's happening. So anyway, I threatened him and I was like, you're either going to do this or I'm cutting it. And then I cut it off. And then I fully expected, like I mourned it and everything. I fully expected his curls to go away and they did not. So guess who is a year and a half later combing out curls all over again.
They came back with a vengeance too.
I know.
They came back thicker.
So now is my favorite part of the podcast, and we're going to talk about parenting wins. My parenting win is last week. I think it was last week. Yeah, it was last week. We were trying to figure out like something that we could do as a family that was kind of social distance because we were at the end of our quarantine and weren't really allowed to go anywhere. So we were like, what can we do? And I was like, oh my gosh, we should go to Shenandoah, the national park. And so we drove a couple hours in the car. We went to Shenandoah. We like got out and hiked and whatever, and like didn't see a person the entire time. The boys had a blast, and it was super, super fun. So it was a win in my book.
Oh no, I want to go be outside.
Right? It was
For like a
it was so
minute.
nice. It was also like 70 degrees that day.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the only time to be outside.
Yeah, no. I mean,
Like,
it's still a little too hot for me if I'm being honest. Like, give me 50 and below, but like,
ooh, really?
oh yeah, 100%.
You're an Arctic Foundry fox.
I am an Arctic Foundry fox.
Foundry fox, yeah.
Okay, do you have a win?
You know, my win is simple, but I have a pandemic child, right? So
You do.
Harper, you know, first of all, she's lived in 3 states. She's not even 2. And in all 3 has been pretty limited on, you know, her exposure to other kids and her exposure to other people. And you know, she's kind of been kind of shy and she doesn't really talk to people. And this weekend, she just blossomed. And I feel like my great aunt. She just blossomed. I just knew she would just blossom. And she like at this, like we'll be at Whole Foods and she'll, you know, we're leaving and she'll wave and say bye. And
so cute.
just, you know, to go, you know, she'll say hi when she sees people. And, you know, she just to go from not even super comfortable, really even, you know, she would give people kind of weird looks sometimes. Like, I don't know you. Why are you looking at me? So just to see her kind of come out of her shell has been super comforting for me. It alleviated a little guilt, honestly.
Yeah.
When I saw her being social. So that was a win.
That is such a win. We can
remove a little parent guilt, you know?
Yes. Kick rocks. That's what we say around here.
Kick the rocks, parent guilt.
Yeah. Kick them.
Yeah.
This has been a segment called Parenting Fails, Confessions, and Wins. You can submit your own FCWs to the podcast. You can do so via voice memo. We can take that voice memo and plug you right into the podcast. It's like you'll be here. Or you can type them out to us on Instagram or Twitter at AutoParent. And now it's time to do a little something different. All right, Kaylon. So I wanted to get real, and I wanted to get real by asking you some more in-depth questions about your journey, about like your life as a communicator and all of those things. So are you ready?
Oh, ready as I'm ever going to be. I feel like I'm on wait, don't tell me or something.
I was going to say, I kind of sounded like a pirate when I was like, are you ready?
Aye, Captain. I can't hear you.
Oh, just a couple of millennials. Quoting.
Oh.
Okay.
Till I die.
So the first question is, who are some of your biggest inspirations, dear one?
Ooh, that's a big one. That's a big question. Female journalists in general. I just read this book by Clarissa Ward, who is a journalist who does a lot of overseas work, especially in the Middle East. She was one of the people that was doing a lot of the on-the-ground reporting in Afghanistan. She just came out with a book like maybe a year ago-ish called On All Fronts. Highly recommend. And it just kind of makes you appreciate what these people go through so that we can know what's going on in the world. So I'm super inspired by people like her who, you know, put a lot on the line to do hard things, hard, necessary things. She's also, you know, a mom like us and with a little one like us, and, you know, leaves and goes over to you know, Afghanistan, where all these really hard, scary things are happening, but does it because it's necessary for all of us. I'm inspired by all the people that I see doing the hard, necessary things right now. The Simone Biles, Allie Raismans,
Yeah.
who do the really scary, hard things, but so that our children hopefully have to do less scary, hard things.
Yeah.
Those are my people.
That's a good word. That's a good word. That was kind of heavy, so I'm going to lighten it up just a bit. Tell everyone who your best social media follow is at the moment.
Okay. I am obsessed with this woman on Instagram named Sharon McMahon. And I know that you're probably making a funny face because I talk about Sharon McMahon to you all the time. At Sharon Says So. Okay. And the reason why she is so great, and everyone go follow her right now, is because she teaches like government concepts, like politics, to grown-ups in like a really simple, nonpartisan way that is just so intriguing and makes you realize that, like, or makes me realize I don't know as much about things as I thought I knew. And I need more of that in my life. She encourages you to ask why. She encourages you to stop and think, why did that person say that the way they said that? Or why is the headline written that way? You know, she has a really cute acronym, LIFT, L-I-F-T, that stands for like I'm five, thanks. So someone will be like, explain the Electoral College, LIFT. And it's like, yeah, like make it easy for me, LIFT. So I like tried to integrate that into my everyday life because I really do think that some of the greatest, most powerful things we can do is to take something heavy or something complicated or something otherwise big on the brain and make it digestible for people.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same.
Something that you do. You know?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Not that I do it, but that we all do it all the time. This is what we do with our kids, or at least what we're attempting to do all the time. And to your point, like, we need that also as grown-ups from time to time. And like, what a great posture to just say, I really don't know all of the answers to this.
Right.
I don't really know the extent of this. I don't know the context. I don't know is like the most powerful phrase we have, and probably the one that we use the least. So
let's
follow.
Celebrate that.
Yes.
Let's celebrate not knowing. Let's celebrate wanting to know. Let's celebrate changing our mind when we have more information. That's awesome.
Yes. You know what I'm guilty of? I'm guilty of in certain social situations, because I'm introverted and also like don't have time for a lot of like personal stuff. Like I don't feel a lot of things a lot of the time and whatever. Anyway, sometimes somebody will say something that I'm not actually familiar with and I just kind of go along with it instead of like, it's not like they're asking me, hey, are you familiar with this? But it's like, they don't even stop to ask. They just continue talking about the thing and I'm supposed to know what the thing is. And I'm just like, oh, haha, yeah. And like, I use my like social cues to know when to laugh and stuff. And then I'm like, I'm exhausted when it's over with. Because I'm like, I didn't know what you were talking about. I was having to read your face and your like movements the entire time you were talking. And like, I'm exhausted from this personal interaction that could not have should not have happened. Because you know what would have been great? If you had said, hey, do you ever watch this show, blah, blah, blah? And I could have been like, no, never seen it. And then you know what would have happened? We would have walked right past each other and moved on with our days. But no, this whole thing happened.
You wouldn't have been like referencing this like, minor character from season 5 that I've never heard of. Yeah.
Who just assumes somebody else watches the TV show? Yeah, surely.
And don't assume that I've heard this new album. I'm 30 now. I can't keep up. I just got TikTok and like, don't assume I know the trend on TikTok. I probably don't. But I might pretend like I know what you're talking about because sometimes just makes it easier.
I mean, see, this is the thing. Because of the nature of the work that I do, I know about every trend on TikTok. But don't talk to me about your like middle-aged TV show. Like I don't even know. but I do know what the D'Amelio family is up to on TikTok. I can assure you of that.
I have one follower on TikTok. It's probably you.
Wait, am I following you on TikTok? Hold, please.
Well, maybe I'll have. Sounds like I might have two in my future.
Yeah, I didn't know you had a TikTok. I just send you TikToks, but now I can send.
Well,
you
I'm kind of a TikTok lurker. Like I don't post. I've never posted.
Such a lurker. I know.
I gotta get the lay of the land first,
I've started kind of posting things, and the youth are making fun of me, but I don't care. Shout out your TikTok username, and we can get you some more followers. And I'll shout out mine. My TikTok username is at RevKCVC. It's the same thing for my Twitter and my Instagram if you want to hit the follow button there. And like I said, I'm starting to make more TikToks. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm not making more TikToks probably, but you can follow me on TikTok at KK Rutledge or on Instagram where I actually do post things. KK Rutledge.
Oh, yeah. KK Rutledge's Instagram is fire. Respect for the pod. I love it. Okay, so next question. What kinds of things are important when you think about branding? And I'm asking you this question because there are some of our listeners who have just recently started new businesses. There are some who are in the branding business, and I would just be interested because I've heard you talk about this before, and it's like listening to an expert. So I want to know what kinds of things you need to think about, what's important when thinking about branding. And also, you just led Foundry through a whole new rebrand. So I don't want to.
I sure did.
Yeah, I don't want to skip over that because it was a huge feat. So share your wisdom.
So I think a misconception that a lot of people have about branding is it's just your logo and your fonts and your colors and how you refer to yourself and things like that. But what really makes a brand are those little things, what you say to people when they walk in the door. What stamps do you use on your envelopes? What's your paperweight feel like? It's all these little things. Like, I don't think that you have the store Lowe's Foods up here, but in my little hometown in North Carolina, we have this little grocery store named Lowe's Foods that went under this great rebrand. And it's like everything is a farmer's market. Mm. What makes it a brand isn't that they chose this great font and they chose these earthy colors that represent vegetables and reminds you of a cute little farmer. What makes it a brand is that the little comment cards you drop into a little mailbox. They have dog treats. They walk your cart out to your car for you. I mean, that's what makes a brand. It's not just your logos and your fonts and your colors. It's how you do anything is how you do everything. That's branding.
Yeah, it sounds like you're talking about culture and a shift in an understanding of what a good, healthy culture looks like.
Absolutely.
Particularly like in the service industry too. Like I remember I did corporate accounting for a hot minute because why not? And I worked for the Kroger Corporation, which also owns
Harris Teeter.
Yeah, buddy.
Which I call Kamala Harris Teeter, but yeah.
I call it Harry Teets because why wouldn't you call it Harry Teets?
Or anyway, just the Teet for short, yeah.
Harris Teeter, Ralph's, a whole bunch of grocery stores across the country. Anyway, I remember the culture was not super great everywhere, but like I did have a sense of ownership of what was going on. Like it mattered to me, a corporate accounting employee, what was happening in the store. And for that kind of culture to exist in a, multi-billion-dollar company, like it says something for sure.
Absolutely.
So I think that's so important that you.
And that's branding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like how you treat your, the onboarding process. That's part of your brand. I mean, every touch point you have with any stakeholder, whether it's a customer, an employee, that's branding. And I think that that's where you win or lose. You can have the prettiest logo in the world. And if your employees don't truly want to treat, your customers right because they're unhappy, well, you got a crappy brand.
Okay, so speaking of grocery stores, which is apparently all we're going to talk about on this podcast, this is like the grocery store
I
podcast.
love grocery stores.
I do too. I do too. And Trader Joe's is kind of what you're talking about. Trader Joe's is absolutely known for their customer service.
Yep.
Like absolutely known. They also did this really funky thing with their logo and branding on their products, particularly the ones that were international foods. They started to change it. So it was like, instead of Trader Joe for like Asian or any kind of like Asian fusion type thing, it was like Trader Ming.
Oh, I think and then it would be like Trader Giotto on the Italian.
Yes. And so they got into a little bit of hot water for it because people were like, why are you like this? There's just no need for this. Why are you doing this? And so those things started to like fall away. But what Trader Joe's had actually created was this culture that was just undeniable. And so the branding and stuff, like the logos and the words and the whatever, like they were able to sort of come out of that and come through that because they had created a culture that was essentially just undeniable with their service.
And like good things happen at Trader Joe's. Like that's the brand they've created. Like,
yeah,
you go to Trader Joe's for fun.
Yeah.
You know, I was in Trader Joe's one time in Nebraska, and Harper was probably like 6 months old. And I probably was looking a little raggedy this day. It was probably the middle of winter, and it was probably like negative 50 degrees below zero or something. And this mom and her daughter were in the store at the cash register next to me. And we were checking out at the same time. And afterwards, this little girl, she's probably Reagan's age. And she walks up to me and she hands me a bouquet of flowers.
Mm.
And she says, "We just wanted to make your day."
Oh, and so good.
Did I cry in the middle of Trader Joe's? Yes, I did. That wouldn't have happened to me at Walmart.
No. This is so crazy because the exact same thing happened to me, except that it was
at Trader Joe's.
Yeah, at Trader Joe's. Except it was somebody who works there. I went in there it was Mother's Day weekend. I don't think it was actually Mother's Day. I think it might have been Saturday. I went in by myself with both kids to do a massive grocery haul. I'm talking like a grocery haul that would last us with dry goods and stuff, the entire month. Like with obviously having to like refresh along the way with fresh goods. You were prepping. I was prepping because I had not been to the grocery store in like months. So anyway, I go in there. I've got 2 carts. I'm pushing 2 carts plus both boys. They're kind of running all over the place. The worker is doing all the stuff and then called 2 people over to bag them. And the worker comes over and talks to the boys. And she told me that I could go ahead and pay. So I'm facing the register. She's got both boys behind me and they're picking out flowers to give me.
Aww.
And I turned around and both boys came up to me and they were like, "Happy Mother's Day." And they handed me a bouquet of flowers. And when I tell you, I was weeping in the line. Mm-hmm. And then she gave the boys like an insane amount of stickers and then gave them bags to put the stickers on because she was like, otherwise, if I don't do that, they're going to put them on the window of your car. And I was like, that's hilarious. Have you seen the window of my car? Because it has 59 stickers on it. But it was just everything. It was everything. And it was such a good experience.
Trader Angel. That's who that is.
That's right.
See, that's branding. Like Target's logo, if you think about it, like isn't super cute. It kind of sucks. It's just like a circle. But like Target is many people's happy place. And that's because of branding and the experience they create. So moral of the story is create a place where people can cry happy tears.
Yes. Okay, so next question. How would you communicate a vision or a mission effectively? Like what kinds of things are important in that process?
Finding out what's important to people,
mm-hmm.
and then using it to light a fire under them. Calling to action, right? You're only going to call someone to action if you strike a chord in them, right? So I think a really important first step that a lot of people leave out in the communications process is the research process and knowing your audience and, reading the room, figuratively speaking, and knowing what it is that's going to strike a chord and the people you're talking to. That's the most important part.
Yeah.
I think I forgot the question.
No, No, that's like, it seems to me that because I've seen you actually do this work, like I've seen you actually do this, like Foundry has a mission and a vision for something. And the way that you communicate it is exactly what you said. And you use all kinds of tools and strategies to get that done. But like appealing to and striking a chord with people, meeting them where they are, like this is the work that you do. And it's beautiful and amazing. And I'm so excited that like even just on this podcast, I'm able to highlight it. And this is just like literally a fraction of what you do. Like the amount of work that you do for Foundry is insane. And I'm just so thrilled that I get to like help you tell people what you do, because it's so badass.
Well, I'm really lucky to be able to tell the stories of people like you. Y'all give me some good stories.
So we're gonna get
some good people to hopefully, call to action.
Yeah. All right. This is the last question. What do you hope the world is like for your daughter?
Equitable, clean, and safe. My favorite memories, some of my favorite memories are as a kid are scuba diving with my dad and being in the ocean. And not to be a Debbie Downer, but one of my greatest fears is that my daughter won't have a clean ocean to dive in. So my hope is that this generation that we see coming up now, they're amazing.
They're killing it.
And they're gonna turn this ship around. She's gonna be part of that. Cash is gonna be part of that. Reagan's gonna be part of that. Everyone, who's listening's kids are gonna be part of that. And I hope that she gets paid the same as her male colleagues. I hope that she doesn't have to carry mace on her keychain.
Yeah.
Having a kid is scary. And you just hope that gosh, this is a long answer, but I just want a happy, safe, equitable world, and not like the one that I'm seeing around me right now.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And a perfect way to end our podcast, I think. Couldn't have said it better myself. This has been amazing.
Thank you for having me. What a nice little nightcap.
Right? This is great. All right. Until next time, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the AutoParent podcast. We're going to leave you with a parent mantra, something you can say to yourself or to your partner just to know that you're not alone. Your mantra for this week is,
I am passionate. I am passionate. Because friends, if we don't believe that, it's going to be really hard to convince our kids.
And remember this, you don't have to be an AutoParent to be a good one. I've been your host, Pastor Casey. You can follow me on Twitter at RevKCVC. Join us next week, same time, same place. You can find out more information about Foundry United Methodist Church by visiting our website, www.foundryumc.org. If you're specifically looking for information about our Family Ministries department or our offerings for parents, you can find those at www.foundryumc.org/family ministries.
Shop at Trader Joe's and Target. That is the mantra.